She was seriously a real disco biscuit. I mean, she is the epitome of a disco biscuit. If you guys want to look in the dictionary, Lauren's picture would be right there. She's it. She also got super good grades. She was just an amazing person. Welcome.
Welcome.
Housewives of True Crime. I have a very special guest with me today. Her name is Liz. If you follow me on Instagram, I had introduced her last week after a tennis match that we had together. She is a dear friend of mine, one of the first people I met when I moved to Texas, but not one of my first friends. And please introduce yourself, Liz, and to all of our disco biscuits and disco balls. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you. Yes, my name's Liz, obviously. I was born and raised in Chicago, which, by the way, is in Illinois without an S. I know Tab tends to always put an S when she says Illinois on it, and it drives me insane. I have to cringe every time I hear it. But I think she's gotten the picture now. But I have 3 kiddos. I'm from Chicago, went to college and grad school in Europe, lived in Vail and LA, and then now my family and I settled in Texas. And we are here raising our family, Tab and I raising our kids together, doing a lot of things together, doing the thing.
We do a lot of things together. Our sons are the same age, Colton and Clark, and they are very similar kids. Like, they're very mild-mannered. And so I wanted to tell a funny story about one of our friends' kids who's also a very good listener, avid listener of this podcast. And so is her mom. So I hope she doesn't take offense to this, because I didn't even tell her that this happened. Actually, she has no clue. But the other day I had the baseball team over, and sometimes when you get a bunch of rowdy boys, you're like, okay, everybody outside for all day. So I had heated the pool, and of course they're upstairs instead of outside where I want them to be. So I go upstairs and I start smelling like burning plastic is what it smells like.
I already know who it is. Do I get to guess which kid it is?
You can guess what kid it is.
I won't say the last name. I already know it.
Okay.
Rack.
Yes. But I didn't know that at that point. I was just like, what is going on here? And one of the baseball boys has this little smirk on his face. Like, he's like, I look at him and I'm like, I won't say his name. T. I was like, T, what's going on up here? He's like, well, Jack did this and Colton allowed him to do it. Like, he was like really making sure that Colton let him do it. And he's like, he was burning plastic, or what is it? The 3D printer stuff.
Oh my gosh. So same kid I love this kid unconditionally. And I think Colton Clark lived vicariously through him. A couple months ago was at my house, and I was leaving him alone for a little bit to run an errand. And before I left, I said to them, and I've never said this to any kid, don't play with matches or fire. Don't light anything on fire. And I stopped and laughed out loud because I've never said it to another kid. So it's funny that he.
Yes.
Fast forward.
Maybe you gave him the idea, dude.
Oh my gosh. It's all my fault. This kid, he is the best though.
Totally your fault. He was like, oh, Colton, do you guys have some matches up here?
We don't even have matches in our house.
I know. So why would you even say that?
Well, lighter, but I know.
No.
This kid is brilliant. And I feel like the combination of, causing trouble and brilliant. Jack. I almost said his last name. Best kid.
I know he is. And I do think that Colton loves having him over, because I think he brings the party, and kids that are more mild-mannered tend to seek people like that. It's kind of like my really good friend Casey. He's a guy. He married the funkiest girl ever, and he barely talks at all.
Well, it's kind of like Jeff and I too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's real quiet and I'm real loud.
Liz is a talker. Yeah, that is true. And I kind of seek which I didn't with you, but I do have some really mild-mannered friends. I kind of am getting rid of those ones a little bit, but it does
You're getting rid of your mild-mannered friends?
A little bit.
I have lots of mild-mannered friends. I just like friends who are very, who are opinionated, who are going to tell me the truth, tell me all the things.
That's why you like me.
Yes. Yes. Sometimes we got to tone tab down a little, but you can always go to her for the truth.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you, Liz. And now let's get into our story.
All right, let's do it.
All right. This case was a suggestion by Aaron Taylor. So thank you, Aaron, for this suggestion. It starts in Salt Lake City, Utah. Are you familiar?
Very.
Have you been there?
I've been to Utah. I don't know if I've been to Salt Lake City.
Have you ever been to Park City or anything like that?
We went to Utah as kids, and I can't remember where we went. Yes. Lots of Mormons, lots of beautiful people.
That's true. And there is a lot of people in Salt Lake. Actually, in the city itself is about 206,000, but the Metroplex consists of 1.2 million people. The price of a home, the median price, is $550,000, which is well above the national average. And you can find like $1 million homes there.
I was going to say, that actually feels low. I would have thought it would have been higher in Park City. I thought the big
Park City. Oh, you're talking. I bet you can't even get out of there.
Oh, this is the whole Metroplex?
Yeah, this is just like Salt Lake City Metroplex. Park City is about, I don't know, like 45 minutes away, maybe an hour drive. Deer Valley. I mean, those places, they have $20 million homes up there. It's nuts. I love it there so much. I love it in the winter. I love it in the summer. Fun fact, the Olympics were there in 2002, and they are coming back in 2034. So
I didn't know that. 2034?
Yeah. So it's going to be a minute. We're going to be a lot older. And
that's a while. I'll be 50. I'll be over 50.
And our hoods are going to be even lower, Liz.
Oh, don't talk about the hoods.
Liz and I have hooded eyeballs, and you guys have heard me talk about it. And Liz didn't know.
Fun fact, never heard of a hooded eyebrow until my good friend Tabitha said, "Oh yeah, you have hooded eyes." And I was like, "Wait, what's that?" And now I'm obsessed with hooded eyes.
Yes,
you can't unsee it once you see it.
That's true. Okay. Salt Lake City is also the home of University of Utah. It's a huge Division I college with about 37,000 students. This is a combination of undergrad and grad students. It's known for its top-rated sports programs as well as its renowned academic program like medicine, engineering, and business. It's affectionately referred to as the U, which I kind of like. One of the U's most notorious students, her name was Lauren McCluskey. She was born February 12, 1997 in Berkeley, California, to her parents, Matt and Jill McCluskey. Not after Lauren was born, she had a little brother come along, and his name is Ryan. Her parents moved the family to Pullman, Washington in late summer of 1998, where they both took positions at Washington State University as professors. Jill taught economics and Matt taught physics. Lauren was really athletic as a child. Like, her athleticism showed itself very early on when she started climbing trees, like at the age of 2. She also started competing in track meets before the age of 10 and even went to the Junior Olympics as like an elementary school student. She was setting out to be I would say at that point, she was a real mini disco biscuit. She earned the USA Track and Field All-American 19 times. And she still holds the youth records there. USATF is, Kyla's in it. So
Yeah.
I think it must be high school and under. Lauren loved animals, especially cats. She volunteered countless hours at the Whitman County Humane Society, and she loved the cat wing. And she also had a cat named Victory, which I love that she's like this track star, and then she names her cat Victory. It's like the cutest thing. In her freshman year of high school, Lauren captured the Washington State High School Championship in high jump and then came in second in 100-meter hurdles. I think you probably are thinking what I'm thinking is like, this girl really kind of resembles my daughter.
Yes. I was wondering if you picked it because of Kyla.
I didn't pick it because of Kyla, and I actually didn't almost do it because of Kyla.
And y'all love cats, which we know how I feel about cats.
I know.
But like cats and track. Anyways.
It's all like everything Liz doesn't like, right? Honestly, it's kind of, it's eerie and it's like, but I think this story, I actually told Kyla this story and I don't tell her a lot of them because you'll see at the end of the story, I think there's a lot of lessons that we can learn from this story. So anyhow, so she was in Washington her freshman year, and then she went to an academy. It's a boarding school for athletes called Spire, and then back her senior year to finish it out in Pullman. She set lots of records in high school. This girl like really was amazing. Then she went on to the University of Utah and she continued to show her athletic abilities freshman, sophomore, and junior year, setting records at the U and gaining an honorable mentions at the Pac-12 level. I mean, she was seriously a real disco biscuit. I mean, she is the epitome of a disco biscuit. If you guys want to look in the dictionary, Lauren's picture would be right there. She's it. She also got super good grades. I mean, she was just an amazing person. Well, at the U during her senior year, September 1st, 2018, to be exact, Lauren met a tall, handsome, well-built bouncer at a club when her and her friends went out dancing. Her friend Alex was her like best buddy. They went to this club, they met this bouncer, and he said, "Hey, my name's Sean White." He was 28 years old, and he showered Lauren and Alex with all the attention that night. You know, he made sure that they were set up at a good table, their drinks were coming, you know, like that kind of guy. By the end of the night, Lauren was real interested in him. So she jotted her number down on a napkin and her name, and when she walked out the door, she handed it to him. Well, Sean didn't waste any time setting up a date with Lauren. He texted her.
Wait, what year is this around? Sorry. Now we're into like.
This was in 2018.
Okay.
So not that long ago.
So she wrote the number on a napkin, not on a, they didn't do it in cell phones? That's why I was like, wait, what year?
You know, because we used to do that. Remember?
Yes. That's why I was wondering. I'm like.
No, I think he was the bouncer. So, you know, she was out there drinking, whatever. She's leaving. She writes her number down. She gives it to him while she's leaving. He calls her right away and he says, "Hey, let's go on a date to the climbing gym the very next day."
Cute first date. Something different.
Yeah, I love that first date. It's awesome. So they went on that first date. Lauren was instantly intrigued. He brought her flowers. I mean, he was a real deal. He wasn't like the other guys at the U, you know, he felt more mature.
Did he have another job besides a bouncer? Was he in school or just a bouncer? Not just a bouncer, but.
He wasn't, he was also in school. Yes. He was also from New York. So he just exuded this different kind of confidence, you know, that Lauren liked. Well, Sean told Lauren that he was at Salt Lake City Community College finishing his degree in computer science. Lauren was so smitten with this guy, she called her mom and told her all about him. She was excited. He was also very tall, over 6 feet, and Lauren was 5'8". So, you know, wearing heels next to a guy usually is a little hard when you're a little taller of a girl. How tall are you, Liz, by the way?
5'6".
Okay.
But I'm the short one in my family.
Oh, because even at 5'6", sometimes when you wear heels, like you can be taller than some guys.
Yeah.
Lauren and Sean started dating regularly, and he really swept her off her feet. He bought her roses, treated her to expensive dinners. He formally asked her to be his girlfriend, and she was into it. However, just a week after they started dating, Lauren's friends started noticing things that made them take a pause. Lauren would say things like, "Sean told her to wear these jeans and this shirt." Or, she told them, oh, Sean said I can invite some friends to go to the bar. It was like he was directing her. Like,
Red flag.
red flag. Totally red flag.
That's a good lesson for Kyla.
This is also true. Lauren's friends noticed that she would be in a panic getting ready for dates because she was worried she was going to be late and that would make Sean angry. They said that when he texted her, she would rush to text back right away because he would get mad if it took her too long. Sean expected Lauren to respond immediately, even if she was driving. So, yes, I think that there are plenty of red flags, especially for her friends, right? Yeah. Sean would start their phone conversations also like, what are you doing? Who are you with? Where are you? What have you been doing? He was insanely jealous. Sean didn't also approve of her going out with friends or going to parties, especially downtown, because there might be other men there. Sean played off his actions by telling Lauren that he just had trust issues because he had been cheated on before. Mm-hmm. One evening, Lauren's phone ran out of batteries and Sean became completely enraged, accusing her of cheating on him. And Lauren kind of chalked it up to like, it's going to be fine. He's just really nervous because of this girl that cheated on him. But as the relationship progresses, I'm sure he's going to figure out that I'm trustworthy and this will not happen. I think you and I both know, Liz, that that is not how people think, especially when they're this type of person. It doesn't get easier. Mm-mm. It actually sometimes gets worse, or most of the time it gets worse.
Yeah.
Sean wasn't just jealous of other men. He was really overprotective of Lauren with all of her friends. He insisted that she also carry pepper spray with her. He also pressured her to buy a gun.
Okay. How long have they been dating at this point? Do we know?
Like a couple weeks.
Okay.
It's not long.
Oh, man.
This guy actually had a gun and took Lauren to the shooting range so she could practice. Mm-hmm. He had a Beretta 9mm handgun. And it's like, okay, Sean, she lives in the dorms, dude. I'm pretty sure they
in
are
Utah.
In Utah, yeah. I don't think they're allowed to be having a gun in the dorm room.
And what was he worried about? Like other like intruders or jealous? Was he just jealous?
I think he was just worried about her, or that's how she took it, right? Like he's just worried about me and he doesn't want me to get hurt, or he doesn't want, like me walking alone at night or living like in my apartment or whatever it is. And I was going to say, I really do think that carrying pepper spray is something that people like women should do, except for pepper spray is crazy intrusive to everybody around them. And so our friends, Tom at Gold Shields, made a different kind of spray, which is kind of like pepper spray, but it doesn't impact anybody around you. Just the thing. It's called Carry Impact. Do you remember him?
I was going to say they were at CrimeCon, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And I do remember it because I grew up in Chicago, which I was like, it can actually be pretty terrifying walking the streets at night, getting off the L at 11 o'clock at night. And I carried pepper spray, in my 20s and my 30s.
Yeah.
So it'd be great to have something different.
Yeah. So if you want, go to carryimpact.com.
And actually, one time it went off in my purse and I didn't know it. And I put my hands in there and then I touched my eyes.
Oh.
And I didn't know. And I didn't know what it was. And then it was horrible.
Yes. That is horrible. That is horrible. So, but I suggest doing the impact spray. That's amazing. I have it and they are coming out with keychains. So I'm going to get some for Kyla. But you guys should all get some for yourself and somebody else. But the gun thing is a little bit too much for me to handle. I don't think that Lauren needed a gun to protect herself. Well, maybe she did when we get to the end of the story, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Alex told Desert News that she hinted to Lauren that the controlling Sean was doing was not normal. Alex didn't want to push it too much because she didn't want Lauren to be totally cut off from her, So Alex was like, this guy doesn't seem so good. Maybe he's being controlling of you. But she also wasn't like, hey, cut it off immediately. And I've had girlfriends that have had terrible boyfriends and have tried to support them through. And I have also lost friends because I have told them to direct. Like you said, Liz, I'm a pretty direct person. And it has totally cut us off because I knew that they should not be dating these.
Well, and they're also young. Like, I've dated terrible people, and I dated terrible people for like years. And I was young, and I look back and I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah. What Alex also saw was that Lauren was changing physically. On September 29th, Lauren asked Alex to come over so that they could talk. Alex thought Lauren looked different. She had lost a lot of weight and she just looked defeated in her face, you know? Well, the reason is because Sean was having Lauren pick him up from the bars after he got off work. And remember, Lauren is a Division I athlete, an honor student. So girlfriend is like working out all day, studying all night, and then picking up her loser ass boyfriend at night when she should not be doing that. He was putting her through so much, and it was really just too much for Alex to even bear watching. Alex and her two other friends decided that they were going to kind of intervene.
Okay.
So Lauren had told them about Sean wanting to buy this gun for her, right? So they go to the housing staff to let them know that they're concerned that Sean is staying too long at Lauren's house. He's or Lauren's dorm room. He's always over there. He doesn't go to school there. And he's also pushing Lauren to buy a gun, which is against the law. Well, fall break was about to start, and thankfully Lauren was going to get a breather for a couple days. She was going to head home to Pullman for the break, and Sean was not going to go with her. Lauren had agreed to loan Sean his car while she was gone, and just before Lauren left on this break, she found Sean's driver's license. He had left his wallet at her dorm or in her car somewhere where she had access to it. And so she pulled out his ID, and what she noticed was it was Sean in the picture, but the information on that ID was very different than the person that she knew as her boyfriend. The name on the card was Melvin Sean Rowland, not Sean White. And he wasn't 28, Liz. He was 37 years old.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
So right after this discovery, I can assure you Lauren probably had a pit in her stomach, right?
His middle name was Sean, though?
Yeah, his middle name was Sean. Okay. His last name was not White.
Yeah.
And he actually didn't even go by Sean to anybody. He went by the name Rowland.
Okay.
So she doesn't say anything to Sean. She decides to go home to Pullman. And while she was there, she starts searching Melvin Rowland's name on Google. To shock and horror, Melvin Rowland had a criminal record. He was a registered sex offender. He was also on parole, and he spent years in prison. Years.
For what?
10 years. I'll get to that. So Lauren held on to this information until she got back to the U on October 9th, and she called Alex to ask her what she should do. And she obviously was like, dude, you got to break up with this asshole. And right when she gets off of the phone with Alex, she looks outside and she sees Sean, aka Rowland, lurking outside of her dorm room.
So she was pretending everything was fine while she was gone. So he doesn't know she knows.
No, because he has her car. Okay, remember that? He has her car. She's like, I don't know what to do. I don't think that Lauren had many, if any, boyfriends before Sean. Okay. I mean, I can imagine it's not easy doing all of her track schedule and carrying on relationships. So I think she was pretty naive to them. He's outside her window. She's like, holy shit. He's pissed. He's like, why are you talking about our relationship to your friends? That's not their business. And she's like, well, listen, I found this who are you? And according to Rowland, who I will be calling him now because that is how he went, or who he went by, except to her, he said, it's no big deal. There was this girl at a college frat party and she lied about her age. He told Lauren that he was forced to plead guilty to the charges and he just had to. So he did. Rowland also insisted that he stay with Lauren in her dorm that night. According to Alex, Lauren did not want him to stay, but he pretty much forced himself to stay over all night. Like he would not leave.
Okay, so that was the sex offender part, but why was he in jail for so many years?
I'm going to get there.
Okay. It's like suspenseful.
All right. Despite his attempt at lying to cover up his lies and repair her trust, Lauren just could not take it, right? Like Lauren's like, no, this guy is the bad news bears.
Mm-hmm.
So she told him that she had to leave for a track practice, which was a lie, but she was like, dude, I gotta get myself out of this situation. So he left, but he left in Lauren's car. Later that day, Lauren got a text from a number that she did not recognize, and it read, "Why did you break up with the big guy? He really loves you." Then she got another text from someone else that said, "Hey, I need to drop off your car because Rowland just can't stand to see you." Then another text from another number that said, "Go kill yourself."
Oh my gosh.
One thing that Lauren did realize when she was looking at these texts was that there was a lot of grammatical errors in them. Errors that Rowland himself would often make. So, in the back of her mind, she kind of knows that these texts are actually coming from him.
Mm-hmm.
On October 10th, Lauren called her mom, Jill, and told her that she was worried about getting her car back. So Jill decides to call campus police and requests that an officer escort Lauren to get the car. And I want to play you a bit of that call.
University Police Security, how can I help you?
Hi, I would like to request some help from my daughter, who's a student at University of Utah.
Okay. What is the situation exactly?
Okay. So she was dating someone who's not a student, and he has her car, and he's supposed to return. She broke up with him, and he's supposed to return it to the parking lot at the stadium.
Uh-huh.
And I'm worried that he's dangerous.
Okay. We can definitely have someone help her out. Can you have your daughter give us a call?
Can you guys call her?
Yeah, what's her phone number?
Okay, so after her mom calls the police, and mind you, this is the university police, okay? The university police calls Lauren to ask her if she feels comfortable getting this car from her ex-boyfriend. And I want to play a little bit of that for you also.
Hello?
Hi, is this Lauren?
Yeah.
Hi, this is University Police. I got a call from your mom about, I guess, a car drop-off that you're going to be doing, or someone dropping off your car, and she was a little bit worried about it. I was wondering if I can ask you a few questions and then maybe send someone with you or have someone meet you there when you're going to drop off the car.
So I think the car will be dropped off.
Okay. Do you feel comfortable with him doing that? I know your mom was really concerned about it.
I think it's okay.
Okay, because if it's all right with you, I mean, we're here 24/7. I'm super cool. You could come hang out here and have him drop it off here. So we could even have a security officer pick you up at your dorm and drop you off here so you can wait here for him to leave your vehicle. So if you wanted to and you felt comfortable, you could come hang out here with us. I mean, it's just a bunch of college kids here. I mean, there's some adults, obviously. We work for the police. But, you can come hang out with us when he drops it off. Or I know she wanted someone to be there with you when the car gets dropped off, which would definitely make me feel more comfortable about that situation. but I don't want to put you out of your comfort zone. I know that's kind of weird, especially if you haven't dealt with the police before. Just having an officer hang out with you while someone drops off a car can be weird.
Mhm. I think I would just want to have it dropped off here, but
Okay.
I'll call if I need to.
Well, okay. Is it all right if I have a security officer at least in the area when it's getting dropped off in case you need anything?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So dispatch explains to the security, like after they get off the call with Lauren and kind of decide that they're not going to actually escort her to the car, but they'll be around, right? So dispatch explains to the security officer at the school that they're just going to be there when the car gets dropped off and escort her to safety if something happens. But everything was back. Lauren was safe. She got her car. All worked out fine. Well, then 2 days later, on October 12th, Lauren received more texts from this supposed friend claiming that Rowland had died. One of them was that he got killed in a car accident. One of them was that he killed himself. And one of them was like, you need to come to his funeral. Why aren't you coming to his funeral? I mean, these text messages are totally fucking batshit.
Yeah.
Lauren called the police again to report these text messages, telling the dispatcher that she thought that they were attempts to lure her out of her dorm room to some sort of place by herself. Well, dispatch then contacts an officer regarding Lauren's reports, and they ask her if she's felt threatened by these. And she kind of says she doesn't feel threatened, but she feels that they are attempt to lure her out. And so she feels uncomfortable, but she doesn't really know how to express, I think, the fear that she has inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then the following day, on October 13th, things take an even darker turn. Rowland's friend, in air quotes if you're listening on the podcast, texts her and told her that he's got nude pictures of her, and unless she pays him $1,000, these pictures are going to be published online. The picture that was sent to Lauren was clearly her nude in her room, and so you could see her track medals. I mean, she panicked, and so she sent him $1,000. Then he says, actually, you need to send me another $1,000, and Lauren complied and sent another $1,000.
How does she have $1,000 just lying around? So her parents are involved? Wow. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't have $1,000.
Yeah.
Cool, but
That's why I'm like,
maybe she got it out of her savings account.
savings. Yeah.
So Lauren then calls the university dispatch to report that she's being extorted by Rowland. Lauren and Alex go down to the station and they're met by two officers. They talk to Lauren. Lauren brings Alex. They say, this guy is extorting me for money. These are the photos that he has of me. She gives the officer, who is Officer Darris, the photos. And they say, okay, Detective Caleb Doloff is going to be on your case. She is contacted about Lauren's case and told by her supervisor that it's not a case that's necessary, like you need to come in on your day off, but you can get to it. No one in that department ran a criminal history check on Rowland. Even after Lauren and Alex showed them the website that they found his name on for that sexual battery, right? Sex offender. Not after all these calls that came in, no one looked into Rowland.
That's crazy. No one looked into him.
No one looked into it. Officer Darris told ESPN that he did not have any concerns about Lauren's safety after her report of sextortion because, according to him, she did not express any fear of domestic violence or danger from Rowland. Now, I'm going to interject a little bit of my own opinion here, but you heard that Lauren was very mild-mannered, and her mother was also very mild-mannered.
A little unengaged.
Yes.
I'd be all over this.
I know, but you are a different kind of person. So I think it's actually the police's job to pry into these cases, especially when you see somebody in a more that's more timid, right? Like maybe you as a police officer need to ask more questions to make sure that this timid behavior is not just being shy, which I think it was.
Yeah, but I guess yes, but also we have timid friends who would also be advocating harder. I don't know. I feel like they're like you can be timid but still engaged.
Yeah, I think there's just some learning lessons there, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So Darris repeatedly told ESPN that Lauren had told him that she thought that Rowland's friend was the one threatening about these photos and it wasn't really Rowland. So that he just, I mean, it furthered his belief in not thinking she was in imminent danger. However, I will tell you that Lauren had a written in her statement at the Hughes Police Department that Sean's number was actually the one that appeared to ask for $1,000. Lauren sent copies of this nude image also to Officer Darris, who then forwarded them to the detective assigned to case. However, he also allegedly showed them to other officers after Lauren made that report and made crude comments about her body and bragged that he had access to this nude photo whenever he wanted it, which is totally disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like anything about that, Officer Darris. So I really hope you didn't do it, but I think you did. Lauren was clearly dissatisfied with what the campus police was doing. So then on October 13th, Lauren called 911 to talk to the Salt Lake City dispatcher. Well, they just transferred her back to the U Center to talk about this case. So it's freaking mind-boggling, right? Like you're just like, what the actual F? Like how much does this girl have to call the police or you freaking do anything?
Are campus police or security? They're police. Okay. Wow.
Now, on October 19th, Lauren still hadn't heard anything from the Hughes detective assigned to her case, so she called them back again. Detective Dolliff called her and told her that she was out of the office, this detective, until October 23rd, but then told Lauren to call back if she got any other messages from Rowland trying to lure her out. Lauren continued to send all the information to campus police, including more screenshots of Rowland's criminal history and his harassing text messages. Then later on October 19th, Rowland made his appearance on campus at a Halloween party, dressed as a character of Deadpool.
He's 37. Why is he going to campus parties?
Something's wrong with this guy. While at that party, a woman would later report that Rowland grabbed her by the hips, pulled him towards her, and made her kiss him. Like, gross.
Mm-hmm.
She warned all of her friends about this douche canoe, saying, the guy in the Deadpool outfit, like, stay away. You can see him in surveillance footage walking around after this Halloween party outside of Lauren's dorm building. Then on Monday, October 22nd, Lauren received another text. This time it was from someone claiming to be Deputy Chief McLennan from the University Police Department and says, I'm assigned to your case. Come to the station as soon as possible. Well, thank God Lauren was like, I don't know. She calls Officer Darris and says, hey, I just got this text message from this number. Is this your deputy chief? And he was like, no, sir. Like, that is not anybody from our police department, which also is like,
Good she did that.
Red flag, police detective Dolliff. Like, get your fucking head out of your ass.
Yeah.
And do nothing.
But good she did that. I don't know if I would have done that at 19 or however, 20, whatever.
I know. I might have actually just thought it was.
I am so gullible. I would have been like, oh, you're a police officer. Like good for her.
So that day, campus surveillance video shows Lauren as she goes about her day to her classes. The same security system captures Rowland as he is going into Lauren's buildings that she had just been in. It's kind of like he's following her.
Uh-huh.
Next, he's seen outside of Lauren's dorm room, just standing outside the entrance door. The dorms can only be accessed if you probably have the same thing with like a key card, which Rowland didn't have. Then you see Rowland being let into her dorm room by another student, which I can imagine also, like, these other students have seen Rowland there for the last month, just kind of hanging out with Lauren. So they kind of didn't probably think anything of it.
No, but it's like an apartment building. If someone's coming in, you're not like, oh, do you live here?
Yeah, it's true.
Like, it's really easy to get in buildings.
Yeah. Rowland hung out with one of the students there, telling them that he was a Marine, and he had actually been carrying like a little small bag, and he showed one of the students what he had in the bag, and it was his gun. But he said because he was a Marine, that's why he had it, which I'm like, I still don't think like Marines just go around carrying their gun around in a black bag. So around 7:30 or 8 o'clock that night, that student that was hanging out with him had to go to the library to study. And so Rowland left the dorm at 8:10. When Rowland exits the building, he walks around to the grass near where Lauren's window was. Then he turns back and goes to the sidewalk, and then he's kind of out of view. About 5 minutes later, Lauren is seen walking towards her dorm room from the parking lot. And then at 8:16, Rowland can be seen walking in the parking lot between the cars. He has his hood, like he's wearing like a hoodie, and his hoodie's up, and he's holding his phone next to his head like he's talking to somebody. He's trying to avoid Lauren seeing him, and this is all caught on surveillance tape. After Lauren passes Rowland's location in the parking lot, he waits for a second and then follows behind her. 1 minute later, Lauren is standing just to the side of the door of her dorm, and Rowland appears behind her several feet away. After about 25 seconds, Rowland steps forward and grabs Lauren. Lauren at this time was on the phone with her mom. All Lauren's mom heard on the other side of the phone was, no, 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 no. And then nothing. The line remained open, and Jill is terrified. She tells her husband to call 911. They're hundreds of miles away in Pullman, Washington, and Matt calls 911. Matt is trying to tell the dispatcher what's happening. He thinks that his daughter has been, abducted by this boyfriend of hers. I mean, they kind of knew at this point, they're like, they know, they pretty much know who it is, but they're like, listen, my wife is on the phone. I think my daughter has been abducted in the parking lot. It was another student, actually, that walked by and found Lauren's backpack and cell phone in the parking lot. And while Matt was on the phone with the police, Lauren's mom's still on that phone,
so heartbreaking.
Lauren's cell phone was still connected. And so that student's trying to talk to Jill, who's trying to talk to Matt, who's trying to talk to the dispatcher. The used police responded to the parking lot in just 2 minutes, and, they relayed that Lauren's ex-boyfriend is possibly the one that they should be looking for. The entire parking lot was taped off, and police canvassed the dorms and the buildings looking for any clues. A few witnesses came forward saying that they heard what sounded like gunshots around the time of Lauren's disappearance. And police actually did discover shell casings. And then at 9:55, an hour and a half after, this is like such a sad case. After they started searching for Lauren, officers made a horrifying discovery. They found Lauren's body in the backseat of a vehicle.
Where was the car?
In the parking lot. It was clear that she was dead. Lauren had multiple gunshot wounds, and a campus-wide shelter in place was issued because the shooter was at large. The alert was released on social media and blasted to all the students' phones, and the suspect was a black male, 37 years old, 6'3", 250 pounds, wearing a gray beanie, black pants, white shoes, and a white hoodie. He was seen leaving on foot northbound from the medical towers. The secure in place order was repeated several times for the next few hours. And back in Pullman, Matt and Jill anxiously waited to hear what happened to Lauren. Matt told ESPN that he kept checking the window to see if any police cars were going to pull up to tell him, that his hope was gone. And then Jill received a call from the track coach. He told her that they found Lauren, and for like a second, she had a glimmer of hope that she was okay, but instead they told her the most devastating news.
I know. And it's so preventable. It was so preventable.
The coach told her that he was sorry, and they were in shock. I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't even tell this damn story. It's so sad. What had actually happened was, because it was all caught on surveillance, Rowland can be seen carrying Lauren from the dorm. This video has never been released, but officials did release a timeline that indicates that he carried her to the parking lot and forced her in the back seat of the car, and then he shot her 7 times. Rowland then was seen going to like a light rail train system where he sat down on a bench, waited for someone to pick him up in a silver Sonata. Well, the person picking up Rowland was a woman that he had met on a dating app that he arranged to go on a date with that night.
Oh, right after he killed someone?
Yes.
Oh my God.
He went to dinner with this woman, went to her place. They hung out for a while. He took a shower there, which I'm like, gross, and then left. The woman then contacted the police after she saw this news broadcast for a bolo that looked like the guy she just went on a date with. Could you imagine? Like, you want to like throw up. She realized the description of the car that they were looking for was hers, but the guy's name was different because he went by something else at that point.
Yeah.
At around midnight, police spotted Rowland near downtown Salt Lake City and pursued him on foot. Rowland ran into Trinity Aim Church. He forced himself through the locked doors, and when police entered the building, they located Rowland inside, and he was dead.
He shot himself.
He did.
I knew it.
So Melvin Sean Rowland, you had asked me what kind of criminal history he had and why was he in jail. Well, let me tell you a little bit about this awful human. He committed his first act of sexual violence in 2003. The first known crime was that he knowingly solicited a 13-year-old girl online with him to have wild sex. What this guy didn't know is that he was chatting with an undercover agent who was posing as a teenager. The task force also learned that 2 days before they caught him, Rowland, who was 22 at the time, had enticed a 17-year-old girl he met online to meet her, and he raped her. To meet him, and he raped her. As he was leaving, Rowland told her that she would never hear from him again, and that he wouldn't take anything from her place on the way out. This brave teenager went straight to the hospital and reported him. Rowland was taken into custody, where he told investigators during the interview that he was a football player at the U, and at the time he was at the U, he was enrolled from 2003 to 2004, but he was not a football player. He was not on their roster. He ended up taking a plea deal for this, this conviction, and he was sentenced to 1 to 15 years in prison. In July 2004 is when he went to prison for charges of rape and enticing a minor over the internet. Rowland was denied parole in 2005, 2008, 2010, and then released in July of 2012 after serving 8 years. He was then sent back to prison 1 year after for failing to participate in the sex offender therapy that he was assigned to and having porn on his phone. He was then re-released in 2013, and after a parole violation in 2016, he was sent back to prison for 2 more years and then released in April of 2018, so not just 6 months before he met Lauren.
Wow.
A month after he was released in April of 2018, he was warned by his parole officer because he was smoking pot, which it's like, just send him back to jail. This guy does not need to be out. His parole agent was aware of his drug violation and discovered that Rowland had been using dating apps on his phone, which also I think he was not supposed to do. However, even with his history of sexual crimes, it was not enough for the parole board to revoke his parole and reincarnate him. They say that he was otherwise like fulfilling his roles on his probation. But I'm telling you, like, if they would have looked him up for all this crazy stuff that he was doing to Lauren, he would have been put back in prison. In June 2019, the McCluskey family filed a $56 million lawsuit against the U, alleging they failed to protect Lauren, which 100% they did.
Yep.
2 years after the death of Lauren, the U settled with the McCluskey family for $13.5 million and admitted publicly that her death was preventable. The McCluskey family announced that all of that money would go to support Lauren McCluskey Foundation, whose mission includes campus safety, animal welfare, and amateur athletics. The money from the lawsuit is used to run the foundation. The family also donated the funds to the University of Idaho, where Lauren has spent many, many hours during her youth practicing her track events. The University of Idaho renamed their track inside their Kibbe Dome in her honor. And when it was resurfaced just in 2023, they added Lauren's name to the track. The funds also for the Lauren McCluskey Foundation went to the Whitman Humane Society for their cat wing, which is named after Lauren as well. And the University of Utah's webpage posted an announcement that they are developing an indoor track and field facility, and it will be in honor of Lauren McCluskey, which I think is part of their deal that they had settled with the family. The U is also working to establish the McCluskey Center for Violence Prevention, and their vision for the center will serve as a national leader in their efforts to eliminate relationship and sexual violence among college students. Jill and Matt's hope is that Lauren's impact is that things will change and what happened to her won't happen again to someone else's daughter. Also, crazier thing is that something happened at that university just a year later, and I think it was maybe a couple years later in 2021, another student named Xifen Dong was murdered. Her death came less than a month after she had notified school housing that her ex-boyfriend, who was also a student, had assaulted her.
I mean, have they revamped their on-campus police policies and procedures?
I really hope so. I think that's part of their plan. I think they would have to. I will say that I will not be sending my daughter to that school because I just could never feel comfortable doing that. But I would hope that they have since made a huge turnaround in their campus safety. And I think I told you, there's so many lessons to be learned here.
It's just all so preventable though, right? There were so many touch points where it could have been stopped.
Yes. And I just want to read you something from the National Database for Sexual Violence. 1 in 5 women in the U.S. experience attempted or complete rape during their lifetime. And 1 in 4 women have experienced some sort of physical violence by an intimate partner at some time in their life. And 60.8% of female stalking victims reported being stalked by their current or former intimate partner. So, like I said, that story hit me super hard.
Well, there's a lot of parallels to your daughter.
Yes, there is. But we must believe and we must advocate. And I also think as friends, we just also have to advocate more for our friends when we know that they're in serious situations like this. I'm not saying that Alex did a bad job at all. I think that she probably did as much as she can. But it's sometimes hard to pry into people's relationships and their things. But man,
But sometimes even if you do pry,
I know it doesn't.
They're not receptive, right? It's hard.
I know.
Really hard. That's a sad story.
That is a sad story. I mean, I told my daughter that story and I didn't cry when I told her the story, but I really wanted her to listen to it. And not just because she's a track star, but because I think when you first start dating, you kind of just don't know what to expect. And when you see that somebody is becoming a little possessive of you, that's not normal.
But even things like even talking to her about, meeting someone online. And I feel you do a really good job of that with your daughter. I think you're hyper aware of all the things. And, I'm not in the true crime world like you are. And so for me, there's so many more things I should be discussing with my daughter.
Yes, but I also over discuss. And then my daughter thinks I'm totally batshit crazy.
Yes, but at least she is aware.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, she is aware.
She's very aware.
Yeah. Also, you guys, okay, so this is super big news, but the alternate is coming out tomorrow. That is my new podcast, and I'm doing it with Margot from Military Murder. If you listened last week, you would have heard her on the podcast with me, and we are breaking down Karen Reed's trial like we are a jury member in 30 minutes or less. I'm going to play you the trailer right now after this, and I'll probably drop the first couple episodes here on this feed until you guys find the alternate and follow it. But really, I would truly appreciate if you follow me there as well. It's going to be really interesting. We're going to do all of America's biggest trials, but we are starting with Karen Reed. If you also haven't rated and reviewed, please do so. If you want to be a guest co-host, also email me at housewivesofTrueCrime@gmail.com. Thank you all for your emails. I have a ton to go through. Send me a little 10, 30-second video clip of yourself and why you want to be on. And I'm going to pick some people every single month. I'm going to have one of you on and to co-host with me. It's going to be very exciting. And I can't wait to see where this podcast is headed. And I thank all of you for sticking with me. Again, if you want to hear a little bit more of what had happened, you can go to patreon.com/Housewives of True Crime or join our Clink Clink Club or follow the bonus content on Spotify. I talk a little bit about it on last Thursday's Patreon. And I just really appreciate you sticking through and following the podcast with me. You too, Liz. Thanks for sticking with me, girl.
Always.
And I think that's it for today. So clink, clink.
Clink, clink.
You've been summoned to the jury box.
Welcome to The Alternate, a daily podcast covering America's biggest trials.
Karen Reed left the courthouse after posting bail, charged with hitting her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe.
We give you just the facts, testimony, courtroom highlights, and what the jury sees.
In 30 minutes or less, one trial, one season.
New tonight, a suspect in custody this evening in connection with the gruesome murders of 4 college students.
From opening statement to verdict.
Tonight we're learning some new details about the murder of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Her mom's boyfriend, Stefan Stearns, is facing the death penalty.
No media spin, no legal drama, just the real stuff.
I'm Tabitha, host of Housewives of True Crime.
And I'm Margot from Military Murder. We will be your eyes and ears in the courtroom.
Follow The Alternate wherever you listen or watch us on YouTube and Spotify Premium.